These are a pair of Solovair Chelseas. They're dealer boots specifically. And I think that these boots are better than Doc Martens and better than Blundstones. Let me tell you why. Howdy, hey, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, and according to my analytics, you probably are, my name's Andrew and I make videos about apparel, and in this case it seems mostly about footwear if we're judging by the last video. Now this isn't the first pair of Solovairs that I've reviewed on this channel. About a year ago I took a look at their loafers as an alternative to the Doc Marten Adrians. You should also check out that video if you haven't already. That video really got me into Solovair as a brand, and I started digging in a little bit more into what they offered. And while I was clicking around on their website, I found these. So this is a dealer boot in the Guacho Crazy Horse leather. From doing a bit of digging, and at least by how I understand it, the Crazy Horse leather is a type of leather that is waxed before it is then buffed and polished. This processing of the leather allows it to patina a lot more than perhaps a normal pair of leather boots would. This kind of finishing means that as you wear the boots, the wear points such as the flexing at the toe box will develop faster and create a worn-in look that is more unique to your particular pair of boots. The name Crazy Horse also apparently comes from the fact that this is the kind of leather that they would use for horse saddles. So that's a fun fact for you as well. Now at the top of this video, I made a few claims that I think that these boots are a little bit better than some of the competition, so let's dive into that. First, let's compare these to the Doc Martens. For those of you who haven't seen my previous video, here's a quick little history rundown. Solovair is kind of a play on the words of soul of air. In the 50s, when Dr. Martens came up with the idea of a rubberized sole with air pockets, he had Northamptonshire Productive Society, or NPS, create Dr. Martens by Solovair. Today, Doc Marten has moved on from NPS, with their production being mostly offshore and a little bit more commercialized. However, Solovair has kind of been able to keep going and doing the same thing. They've been able to continue making boots with that same design and with more traditional boot making techniques. It's also why, when you look at the stitching, they can't use a yellow stitch, because that is a Doc Marten trademark. Two fun facts. While you can't see it in these boots, one of the things that Solovair does to differentiate themselves from Doc Martens is the inclusion of a wooden shank in the soles. This little bridge does a lot to aid in comfort when you're wearing the shoe. It acts as a little support for your arch as you go from the heel all the way down to the toe. So in that case, comfort is definitely in the Solovair's favor. I wore my cow print Docs to a concert a while back and absolutely regretted it just because there wasn't anything supporting my feet, and when you're just standing around in a pit for a while, it kind of gets uncomfortable. While we're on the topic of comfort, I did want to highlight one small con, which I just found kind of weird. I found it a little odd that inside the boots, they only had a heel insert for the insole. There wasn't one that went across the full shoe. I kind of understand this a little bit more with the loafers, but for a boot, something that you'll probably wear on varied terrain, something that you'll be walking longer distances in, I felt like that's an odd thing to leave out. Luckily, this was a pretty easy fix. I just went down to the local Red Wing store here and got one of their leather insole inserts, and that has done wonders for the comfort and makes it a lot better, but still, that might just be personal preference. Another point in favor of the Solovairs is the Stitchdown construction. When I was looking at picking up these boots, I was actually cross-shopping them with Blundstones, which on face value, I realized might be a kind of weird comparison. To me, these are both boots that are almost like slippers. You can kind of just grab them off a shelf, put them on, and do whatever you need to do. But they're also boots, so you can kick around in them a little bit more and you don't have to worry about, busting your toe on a rock or something like that. There were a lot of things that I did like about the Blundstones, and this is not like a Blundstone is a bad boot by any means. But the reason I kept being held back from them were for two things. One was the sole construction and the other was shape. One of the things I really disliked about the Blundstones was the fact that the soles were pretty much glued into the upper. I really value being able to repair things, whether it's clothes, whether it's tech, whether it's a vacuum. From the little bit of research that I did, from what I can tell, it is very difficult, if not near impossible, for the Blundstones to be resoled, and that's a pretty important factor for me. So I took these Solovairs up to the mountains with me for a little cabin retreat, and they did incredibly. They show a few more scratches than a pair of Blundstones would, but I think that's kind of the point. Like I talked about in the leather section, with the wax and the oils in it, the more you wear it, the more bushes or rocks scrape against the side, the more scratches will start showing up. I'm someone who really enjoys seeing fades in denim, for example. The wear in the patina is something that really resonates for me. And finally, a quick note on the shape of these boots. I much preferred how these Solovairs looked compared to the Blundstones that I was looking at, or some of the offerings from Thursday. I have a pair of Thursday boots, they're Thursday Cavaliers. I really like them, I have no real qualms with them, but they're pretty dressy, especially compared to most of the things that I wear on a day-to-day in my wardrobe. While I do wish the toe box was a little bit more squared off, maybe something like the Our Legacy Camions, I also can't complain too much because these are, you know, $500 cheaper than a pair of Camions. I think these boots will get along well with pretty much everything in my wardrobe, whether it's pairing them with jeans, pairing them with fatigues, or even something like these athleisure Lululemon pants. And so that does it for today's video. I'm pretty constantly impressed by what Solovair has been producing and the variety of styles that you can get from them. I suppose being a brand from 1881, they've figured out a thing or two about how to make a shoe. So if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you liked and hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 500 subscribers, which is a pretty big milestone for me and kind of crazy to think about that, you know, 500 of you, or well, almost 500 of you have subscribed to my channel, and there are thousands of views on my silly little videos. If you want to watch the last video I did about Solovairs on the loafers, I'll link that somewhere on screen here. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.